Hello, I'm Jennifer Keller, Programming Coordinator at the Westport Library. Today we're speaking with Westport author Hilary Burns in this Saugatuck Scribes virtual event. This series celebrates authors who live or grew up in Westport. Hilary Arno Burns grew up in Westport and spent over 30 years as a business consultant and has recently published a memoir called The Second Piece of French Toast. You can also keep in touch with her at gettingrealwithhilary.com. Jessica Bram will be interviewing Hilary. She is a writer, radio commentator, and author of Happily Ever After Divorce. Jessica's personal essays have been published in the New York Child Magazine, Country Accents, and the Gannett newspapers. She is also the founder of the Westport Writers Workshop, where she teaches private workshops in creative nonfiction, memoir, and essay writing. Welcome to you both, and I leave this to you now.
Good morning. What a delight to see you, Hilary.
You too, Jessica.
As you know, I'm a bit familiar with the writing of this book, and it just came out wonderfully. Interesting. I thought readers would want to know what inspired you to write this book, particularly such a personal story.
Well, let me just hold it up so they can see what it looks like.
Please.
Basically, my story is that I always wanted to write a book, and I kept starting books, but they always ended up being journals. So I was reading the book Success Principles by Jack Canfield, and he said, set a goal and put a date on it. So I did. I set a date for December 31st, 2012, that I would finish a book, and that day I did. So that's really what it was. Yeah.
Congratulations. Talk about the book itself. One of the things really that I felt the most endearing and compelling about it, and different from others, is the unsparing look at yourself. You don't make excuses. You don't justify anything. You have judgment neither for yourself nor anyone else. Do you judge anyone else? And I find that honesty is very endearing and makes a reader just cuddle up with the book and with you as the writer right away. How did you do that?
Well, I'll go back in time. When I finished the book, I thought I would just publish it, and I found Jessica, who was a writing teacher. And one of the things, so what we would do is read chapters aloud. And one of the things I remember you saying was, don't be a victim. And so you don't want people feeling sorry for you. So I remember looking at it from, okay, I'm not going to feel sorry for myself. This is what I went through. And I'm a crier, so don't worry about that. I have my tissues. But, and what you did was you taught me. So I learned how to write with Jessica, and there were scenes, and the scenes were what happened. And then there was summary, and the summary was where you take a look at it. And because it took me 7 years to rewrite, I did have time over those 7 years to get a little bit separate from what was happening and be able to look at it, sort of objectively, and not to blame either the other people or myself. So I think that really helped. I had heard that you're not supposed to publish a memoir for 7 years, and it ended up taking 7 years. So it was perfect that I got to be able to look at things, and not blame and not be a victim as well.
Well, I'm glad to know that. So many people, memoir writers, the first thing they worry about, what if my read this? What if my children read this? How were you able to block out the self-consciousness that comes from that? Because once you start doing that, I think it really kills the writing. And one of the special things about your book is how uninhibited and direct it is.
Well, a while ago, I had seen a writer, Danny Shapiro, do an event at the Barnes and Noble. I just happened to see it, and I went to it, and I got her book. And her book, Slow Motion, was a very, very honest look at her life, where she talked about stuff that she did that I was like, wow, I can't believe she's telling people this. And so then I said, you know what, if she can do that, then I can do this. And I did I did tell my children what I had done and the things in it so that they wouldn't be surprised. And I have not had them read it. There were scenes in there that I didn't think they needed. I didn't think they needed those pictures in their brains for the rest of their lives. And then my, one of the main characters, I did give it to him to read. And he gave me I said, you can tell me what you want to change if you don't like it, because it was about him. And I changed just a couple things, and then I changed his name. So I did change some of the names of the people. At one point, I was going to publish it under a pseudonym, and then I actually talked to a lawyer who said, as long as it's the truth,
That's right.
it's okay. And I changed the names of some of the people, and that was okay. So I almost changed everything in a panic, but I once I got legal advice, I left most of it in.
Well, good for you. That takes a lot of courage. And changing the name is something that's, I think it's gotten completely uncommon right now. It's a way to protect other people that use our own names. So here's the question that everybody wants to know all the time, which is, tell us about your writing process. When do you do it? How do you do it? Do you do it in fuzzy slippers? Hilary has, I want to say, a full-time job. She has 2 teenagers. She has a lot of responsibilities. So how and when, and has been going through, very much what you read about, a lot of personal tumult and change in her life. So Hilary, tell us about your process. When do you do it? How do you do it?
Okay, well, honestly, I don't remember when I wrote the book or how. I think I just was compelled. And I think I must have sat down when nobody was around. But now going forward, so I have a blog, and I use the blog. I haven't written the second book yet, but I use the blog when I'm upset, when I'm stuck, when I can't see an answer for myself. I just will stop, sit down. I also have a YouTube channel called Getting Real with Hilary as well, and I'll use that. So it's not a certain time. It's really when I need to work something out because I don't feel freedom, or I'm upset, or I'm nervous, or I'm just not myself. And as the subtitle of the book says, if marriage was my dream, why was I numbing myself? I can see that when I'm thinking, oh, what can I drink, or what can I eat, that's a what is it? A trigger, or not a trigger, but that's the sign that I need to do some internal looking. So my writing is actually triggered by the need to numb. And then I get to look and see, like, okay, what is actually going on with you? And writing for me is therapeutic, and the videos, they're all therapeutic for me to work out when I don't feel free. So I don't know if I answered did that answer your question?
Are you a night writer, a morning writer, during the day?
I would say
sitting down to write.
Yeah, I mean with the COVID, we're home, so it's not an issue. I think
That's for sure.
I'm not going to do it during the day when I'm working, or if I take a break. I don't have a set time. It's really when there's something that I want to write, and I just do it. I wouldn't say I have a particular habit of when or how.
Okay, well, we'll leave that a mystery then. I heard you say the word therapeutic, which is always the question that people ask memoir writers. And I always have a problem with it, because this is not therapy. This is for a reader.
Right.
So at what point, obviously the writing of it, what makes it so interesting, what's so honest and so compelling, is that you were really expressing the emotions and maybe were in it at the time. Tell us about the editing process. Is this the way you write it? It just came out this way?
No. Yeah, no, 7 years, like 7 years. It's almost like Gilligan's Island, like I was stuck on an island for 7 years. But, what we did in Jessica's classrooms was we would read a chapter, we would get feedback. I would learn each week new tools and techniques, the distinctions of writing that I really didn't know. I really had never paid attention to writing. So that was the first part, was learning how to write. And then once I got the chapters good, then I had some other editors. I literally thought someone would take it, make it read nicely, and I'd publish it. But that was very much not the case. So I had different people. I had one person who read it, and the big thing for me was because I had the chapters, and then I had to get them all together, and I didn't know how to, I didn't know how to do that. I had never done any of this before. So her comment to me after she read it was, why didn't you speak up? And why were you not responsible? And I was like, first I was mad, like, how dare you? And then I really looked and I said, oh, I didn't even know I wasn't speaking up. So that was a whole nother round of writing, was looking at that. And it took me a few months to really see, why didn't I speak up? Why did I let that happen? And so, the last question was, was it therapeutic? It wasn't therapeutic in that I went to a therapist. It was therapeutic in that I got to look. Why didn't I speak up? Why, I started out, when I got married, I was, fit and thin and had my life together and successful and confident and all that. And how did I get there? So it really was in the editing of the book and the looking at, she said, somebody who's reading this would say, that doesn't make sense. How could you let that happen? And so by going through the editing and the rewriting, I really got to take a look at my life and say, how did I get that way? How did I get to be someone who didn't speak up? And that was really, not only did I write the book, but I really got to get some freedom. And I actually started a exploration into, saying what you're afraid to say and speaking up. And that, that's what I learned through the editing, which who would have thought that was something I learned? And I've been able to explore that in my life and create a lot more freedom for me and for others. So.
That's wonderful. That's a wonderful answer. Very interesting. You were not just editing for polishing the book. You were also editing for deepening the exploration. And
Yeah.
I think that's so informative, for writers, and something to emulate, something to really think through. So what do you want readers to take away from reading your book? How would you like them to feel afterward? Or what do you think that you would like them to have learned?
What I would like them, let's see, I took notes so I wouldn't forget. I would like them, I think for myself, I was blaming myself. Well, when I started, I was numbing myself. I thought my only problem was weight. And once I started losing the weight, I realized, oh, I was numbing myself. And, so what I did was I got to, wake up and, from the numbing and say, wow, the problem is not the weight. Once I started losing it, and just to really take a look at my life and get real. That's my website, Getting Real with Hilary, because I realized, wow, I was so not real. I was so pretending everything was fine. I was so, just being in la la land, when in actuality, I really wasn't happy with a lot of the things. So I would want them to take away, if there's someone who's numbing, it could be many different ways, to go, wow, let me take a real look at my life, and to know that once they get real, they can then, decide, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, and then get into action, make a plan, and create a life that they really want. Because, the time of the book, I did feel stuck, and I felt that this is just the way it is, and I better put up with it, and, don't be in la la land. You can't really have what you want. And what I would want them to know is that, they can have what they want. They're not alone. It's not their fault. Whatever it is, get into dialogue, get into communication, know that there's people around you that do care and love you, and that you're not alone.
Well, it's a wonderful book. Let me just end by saying that I think anybody would just love to read it. It's a page turner. And I congratulate you on such a monumental experience. Second piece of French toast. What was if I wanted to, what was
If marriage was my dream, why was I numbing myself?
Excellent. There you go. All right. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you very much. It's great to see you again, Jessica.
Yes.
Thank you both for this fabulous conversation about Hilary's book, Second Piece of French Toast. So thank you both for sharing your time. And remember, those of you at home, you can order your Hilary's book through Amazon or Barnes & Noble, or borrow it from the library. So for more videos and information about the Westport Library, please feel free to visit westportlibrary.org. Thank you both so very, very much.
It was a pleasure. Thank you, Jennifer. And thank you, Hilary.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. It was awesome.